Gangster School is a brilliant book, and I hope you enjoy Millie and Charlie's adventures through the year. I loved the book, it was so funny, creative, and I hope you think so too. But can they beat Bad Penny and her demonic plans? Well, we'll find out in the book, but for now, here is the author of the book, Kate Wiseman. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name's Kate Wiseman and I write the Gangster School series of children's books. It's lovely to be here with you today, well, kind of here, and I hope that you're all really happy and cheerful and doing well. Today we're going to be thinking about villains, bad people. Every book and movie has a villain of some kind, even if they're not rubbing their hands and cackling evilly, like that. Some villains, and in writing we call them antagonists, are more subtle than that. They might even try and stop the hero from doing something out of concern for them, rather than because they want to ruin their lives, but they can still be the antagonist or the villain. I've always enjoyed reading and writing about bad guys, and maybe that's why at Blaggard School, and that's the real name for Gangster School, there are more villains than dependables. Dependables are what I call honest citizens like you and me and everyone out here, and like Millie and Charlie as well, the two heroes of the Gangster School books. I'll show you them. Here they are. Ta-da! Here they are. Millie and Charlie. This is the English, as in English language version of Gangster School 1. And you can see that they look quite naughty, don't they? They're running, they're grinning, they look like they're up to no good. And to be honest, Millie and Charlie usually are up to no good, but in a way that doesn't break the law, because that's just not what they're interested in. So this is Blaggard School here. And Millie and Charlie, and that's the wolf. We'll get on to him in a little while. Now compare that to this. This is, looks like an advert. This is the Dutch version of Gangster School 2. And I think here Millie and Charlie don't look half as naughty. They look a bit sedate, really, if you ask me. They look like they'd be more interested in doing what their parents told them to than sort of running around saving the world and doing all the strange things that they have to do. The school's very different. The building is very different as well, as you can see here. So that's Gangster School 2 in Dutch. And one more. This is Gangster School 3, and this one is German. And again, we've got this very different school. And this is Gruffles here, Charlie's dog, who in this one acquires a pair of boots that allow him to fly, which is why he's flying through the air. But Gruffles is quite an important part of the Gangster School stories, and he's pretty naughty. He smells really bad, and he doesn't often do what he's meant to be doing. But somehow it always works out in the end. But again, it's very different school here. Okay, so as a little aside. So, Millie and Charlie don't want to be villains, but there's a problem. Their families have been lawbreakers for generations, and they have no choice but to go to Gangster School. They have to work out how to stay there, because if they get thrown out, they're going to be sent somewhere much worse, which we'll come on to. So they have to come up with ways of doing things that seem to be criminal, which aren't criminal at all, so that they can stay at Gangster School, but not compromise what they believe. And they're pretty ingenious, if I'm honest. Back to villains. Now, villains are great fun to read and write about, because often they're mad as well as bad. Think about Cruella de Vil, with her hair half black, half white, and her longing for a coat made of puppy skins, which is really horrible. Think about Miss Trunchbull in Matilda, or Muscles and Meanness. She's a great villain. Or Voldemort, of course, in the Harry Potter books. He's got a face like a skull. He's got no nose. So most fun villains are quite over the top. You know, they're larger than life. So, the villain from the first Gangster School book is called Pecunia Badpenny. Actually, this here, just had a thought, this shadow is meant to be Pecunia Badpenny. This is Gangster School 4. Okay. She's skinny, she's angular, she's all elbows and knees. She's got eyebrows that meet in the middle, like that. And because she's really, really bad, she likes to wear gloves made from panda skin. Now, I added that detail because I love animals, and wearing gloves made from the skin of something as beautiful and endangered as a panda seemed to me just about the worst thing I could think of. And it's often a detail like that that really gets you inside your villain's head and helps you to bring them to life. I shall read you the description of Pecunia Badpenny in Gangster School 1. Here goes. Here it is again. And I've marked the page. A new page appeared. It featured a film clip of a woman speaking straight to camera. She was thin-faced, flat-haired, and her lips were a slash of vermilion. Her eyes were lashless and bored. The only interesting feature on her face was a thick monobrow, darker than her pale hair. Millie thought that it seemed to crawl across her forehead like a furry caterpillar, and her fingers itched for a pencil and some paper to draw her that way, with a segmented insect body and dozens of spindly legs. So that's just a short paragraph that tells you what Pecunia Badpenny looks like. Now, villains often have mad names as well as sort of mad tendencies and looking really over the top. Pecunia Badpenny is quite a mad name, I think, and it's based on the fact that she's very greedy and she loves money. In the third Gangster School book, here we go, Gruffles and the Killer Sheep, the villain is the headmaster of that rival school that I talked about earlier, where Millie and Charlie will get sent if they get expelled from Blaggards. It's called Crumleys. There it is. Not a nice place, Crumleys. But that villain's name is Dr. Beelzebub. Beelzebub, it's another name for Satan. And, well, I thought it was quite funny. Probably no one else does. But there you go. Now, Zebub, is there a picture of him on here? No, they haven't put him on here. Got upside down Gruffles, though. Has a metal arm and a metal hand that sometimes sort of twist out of his control, and he just can't stop it. His metal hand has a series of attachments that he can screw into it depending on what he's doing at that time. The attachment he wears most often is a long cane, and sometimes it kind of convulses like that, and then everyone has to jump backwards out of reach or they get swiped by it. I shall read you the description of Zebub, Dr. Beelzebub. Here he goes. Millie examined him. He looked like a gargoyle in a red and black clown suit. He was unusually tall, with a round-shouldered stoop. His face was craggy, dominated by a nose like a vulture's beak. His eyes were hard, black pinpricks. He was wearing a wig so obvious that Millie wondered why he had bothered with it. It was blue-black like a crow's wing, and it flowed down to his shoulders. I reckon if you saw someone who looked like that, you'd think villain. So, villains are often larger than life, and they have extraordinary names. Now, I thought it would be fun if you designed your own villain. Your villain could be male, could be female, could be young, could be old, could be human, could be inhuman. It's entirely up to you. Now, you should have a sheet of paper in front of you with a sort of a blank face on it. And you're going to be designing your villain on that, but don't start yet. That's to come. Designing your villain will be more fun, I think, and you'll be more pleased with the result if you stop and consider it for a while before you start drawing. Now, on TV and in movies, we often see villains who look quite similar, They tend to be tall and thin. They tend to have pale face, dark hair, piercing eyes, thin lips. Sounds a bit like me, apart from the slim. And that's all fine. But that image, I think, is a bit obvious. It's something we've all seen so many times. So why not make your villain a bit more original? Okay, let's start thinking. Let's think about your villain's eyes. How many eyes do they have? Your villain doesn't have to have 2 eyes. Could have as many as you like or as few as you like. What colour are they? What if your villain wears an eye patch or has one eye sewed shut? Yeah, that's quite gruesome, isn't it? Quite like that, might use that. It's up to you. Now I want you to stop the video and start drawing your villain's eyes. And when you've done that, start the video again and we'll move on. Okay, welcome back. On to the villain's hair. Maybe your villain has beautiful hair, or green hair, or no hair, or horns instead of hair, or quills like a porcupine all over his head. It's up to you. You can decide. So when you've decided, stop the video, get that hair onto your villain. Okay, and I'll see you in a minute. Hi again. On to your villain's nose. Could have a witchy nose, hairy nose, no nose like Voldemort, a pig's nose. Anything else that comes into your mind is fine, and the more imaginative it is, the better. So get thinking. When you've thought, stop the video, draw that nose, and then come back to me. I'm waiting. We're doing well with this, aren't we? On to ears. They don't have to match. You could give your villain one ear like a human and one ear like a horse, or any other animal you could think of. Maybe just one ear full stop. Or maybe they wear weird earrings. You decide about the ears, possible earrings on your villain. When you've decided, stop the video, draw those earrings, ears or earrings or whatever, and then come back. Right, excellent. This is going really well, I can tell. Your villain's mouth. They could have a big mouth with fangs. Tiny weeny baby's mouth. That'd be quite disturbing. Or rows and rows of shark's teeth. Decide, stop the video, draw that mouth, draw those teeth. You know what to do. See you in a minute. We've nearly finished the drawing now. I think we're doing extremely well with this. You could add some scars you like, or anything else you want. Stop the video when you've decided, get those scars or whatever drawn, and then start it again when you're ready, and we're moving on to the really exciting bit. So, when you've drawn your villain, it's fun to think of a name for them. Villains usually have distinctive names that sound a bit evil or a bit threatening. But how about fooling people by giving your villain a really friendly name? Smiley Jim, Rose Friendly, something like that. Now, it wouldn't be fair of me to expect you to do all this work and not do it myself. So I decided that I should draw a villain too. Rather than decide whether he or she or it, what they should look like myself, I decided to consult with an expert. And that expert was my niece, Isla. Now, she reads loads of books and she knows a lot about baddies. And this is what she decides a villain should look like.
Isla, you know Auntie Kate's going to draw a baddie for you and for lots of kids in Scotland. She wants to know if you'd like the baddie to be a man or a lady.
A lady!
Okay, and what about her hair? What would a lady villain's hair be like?
Spiky like a hedgehog.
Spiky, cool. And what colour should her eyes be?
Pink, my favourite colour.
Pink eyes, nice. How about her nose?
Give her a bogey, yuck!
Oh, charming. What about her teeth and mouth?
Red lips and teeth like a snake.
Okay, anything else?
I know, a pet snake.
Right, well, good luck, Auntie Kate.
Good luck!
This baddie is going to look lovely.
Right, well, that was quite specific, wasn't it? And this is what I came up with. Ta-da! What do you think? Rather proud of that. Good, yeah? No? Be kind to me. I've had a hard day. I did my best. So, this is what I think a villain looks like. It's up to you what yours looks like. And when you've drawn your villain, we're going to describe them. Right, I want you to use lots of interesting language to do this. You can use similes and metaphors and anything else you want to do. Here's a short example from Gangster School 1. It's a description of the wolf, a flying robot guard dog employed by Badpenny. You might just be able to see him there. Okay. Find the page. It's already marked. The wolf. Badpenny was thrown into insignificance by the creature behind her. It bore a passing resemblance to a large dog, but it was made from gleaming black metal. And with its bullet-shaped head, caterpillar tracks instead of legs, and multiple barbed tails probing the air like Medusa's snakes, it was a dog out of a nightmare. It hovered effortlessly above Badpenny, her own personal thundercloud. Her own personal thundercloud. I'll get there in the end. So, I hope you noticed that simile, the wolf's tails probing the air like Medusa's snakes. Do you know about Medusa from Greek myths? She had snakes instead of hair, and looking in her face would turn you to stone forever. Now think, if I'd said that the wolf's tails probed the air like dancing butterflies, it wouldn't be menacing, would it? It wouldn't be appropriate, because butterflies aren't threatening as far as I know, unless you think differently. So try and make your similes fit in with what you're describing. Good tip. There was a metaphor in there too. Did you notice it? Metaphors, as I'm sure you know, say something is something else, rather than saying that something is like something else. That would be a simile. The metaphor I used was saying that the wolf was Badpenny's personal thundercloud, and I found it very hard to say. Often metaphors create a stronger effect than similes because they're sort of straight in there. So use them carefully. You ready? We're going to start writing now. Let's think about describing your villain's eyes. Maybe they're red. You'd be amazed at how many villains I see with red eyes. You could use a simile to describe them. You could say that their eyes are as red as blood, and that's fine, but it's not very original. So what else is red? Roses, stop signs on roads, your dad's nose maybe. Might not use that one. Apple skins, the red bird from Angry Birds, all kinds of things are red. So can you use one of those things to describe your villain's eyes? Give it a go. Okay. And when you've done that, we move on to their hair. What does it look like? Maybe it sticks up like an angry hedgehog's. Maybe the villain is as bald as a snooker ball. That's a good simile. Or perhaps the hair reminds you of a nest of wriggly worms. That's quite appropriate, isn't it, for a villain? It's a bit creepy. See how descriptive you can be when you're describing their hair. And then we go on to their nose. Does it look like a carrot, a can of beans, hungry pigs? Use your imagination. And when you've decided, write that down. Right, let's move on to their skin. Is it white, like the belly of a dead fish? Ooh. Is it green, like a bogey? Blah, not very nice. Is it scaly, like a lizard's? Actually, that's quite nice. Think of an original way of describing their skin and write that down. Okay? You're getting the idea by now. Do the same thing to their mouth, their teeth, their ears, anything else you've drawn. make sure your description is original and fun. It's a great thing if you can make your reader think, I've never thought about eyes or whatever feature as being like, I don't know, runny fried eggs before. That's a good thing if you can do that. It means you're being original. Now, I'd love to see what you've drawn, and I'm hoping that your parent or teacher or carer can send your pictures to me through the Big Dog website. Remember to put your name on the picture, because I'll be sending out some prizes for the most villainous villains. That's my villainous laugh, by the way. So do your best work. And remember, describing them is as important, even more important than drawing them. Now, I hope you've enjoyed designing your villain, and I'm looking forward to seeing what or who you come up with. And sadly, I'm running out of time, so I'd say goodbye. Happy villain designing, and I hope to see you soon. There is one other thing to say, actually. If there are any questions that you'd like to ask me, I'd love to make a video that answers them. So do give that some thought. And if you'd like to, you can send them to me via the Big Dog website. So bye-bye, and I'm going back to my writing. Here I go. So, her eyes were like lumps of coal. Yeah, I like that. In a dark cellar. Coming well. At midnight. On a night when there's no moon.